What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Test Your Might, the weekly video game debate show. My name is Mike, your host, and today we will be discussing the Xbox and Bethesda showcase, Disney Dreamlight Valley, and our top 6 racing games. But first, let me please introduce the panel. We have none other than the rubber duck himself, Justin. How you doing today, Justin?
I'm doing great. I'm very happy to be here today and excited to debate against someone new. Someone that I hope can bring the heat today.
I'm sure he will. And we also have none other than Mafia Lord himself, Stubby Stan, aka Cicero Holmes.
Say hi to your mother for me.
Okay, I'll try.
All right. Yeah, do that.
I never do it.
Oh, that's terrible, man.
I know. Well, no, I say hi to my mom, but not for
me.
you.
You got to say hi to your mother. For me.
All right. Well, then, listeners, our special guest today, he is none other than the executive previews editor at IGN. He is the host of one of my favorite podcasts, IGN Unfiltered, and Podcast Unlocked, the #1 Xbox show, which Cicero has been on. And I've actually been on like a 1 minute and 30 second loot box, which you guys don't do anymore. But Ryan McCaffrey, how you doing today?
I am well. You know, you're looking for me to bring the heat, as the kids just said, and some good news or potentially bad news for you on that. I'm originally from New Jersey, so there's I'm ready to, I'm always down to throw down on any topic you like. So
there you go.
The inner Jersey boy comes out.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of gaming history behind him under his belt, so I'm really excited for Test Your Might. I think you're gonna have some fun debating these two shenanigan people over here. I don't know.
Shenanigan people.
Yeah,
I was wondering what type of.
I didn't know where I was going with that.
The orange
Would we call them
haters.
shenana men?
Yeah, shenanimans.
Shenana men.
Shenanigan. All right. Well, listeners, please leave us a review on any podcatcher of choice. If you're on Spotify, you can leave us a rating of 5 stars on the mobile app only, as well as on Apple Podcasts. Leave us a review. We'd love to read it on the show, and let us know how we're doing. And if you're on YouTube watching us here, for proof that it is actually Ryan McCaffrey, please hit that like button and subscribe. We would really appreciate it. We're on the road to 100 subscribers to get that custom link. A little bit of housekeeping. Yeah, go ahead.
I know. I was going to say I do an incredible Ryan McCaffrey impression. And that's what everyone has been hearing right now. So.
Yeah, that's all it is. That's all it is. It's it's me, Cicero.
Right.
Doing an impression.
How you doing, Uncle C?
Xbox is cool, kids.
Right.
Listeners, a little bit of housekeeping. We have rebranded completely. So I'll have a bunch of links down below. One to our video that we talked about the rebrand, going over all the logos and what our thought process was. And then obviously you are seeing, if you're watching the YouTube version, a brand new logo for Test Your Might as well. One that also 2 of our people here are wearing hoodies for, so you can see the logo there as well. We're really excited for this rebrand, so thank you for your patience as we were preparing for the 2 months that we did for doing it. If you would like one of those shirts as well, I will have a link down below. It does support us. We're not like out here to make a buck. We just wanted to maybe give the opportunity if you guys want a shirt as well for some of the new logos. All of our podcasting and YouTube feeds have changed over to our podcast network, which is What the Fun. So please go in and search for What the Fun and make sure that you're subscribed if you're listening and you're not subscribed. But also the 90s First one that you were subscribed changed to What the Fun, so don't freak out that you randomly got subscribed to a random podcasting feed. It's there. So thank you all for that. But yeah, all links will be down below. And I think that's all I got. So, Ryan, guest of honor, we have a segment called Guts, which is actually going back to our 90s roots, and it's based on the Guts Nickelodeon show.
I approve. I'm older. I'm a Double Dare guy.
Right.
I love Double Dare too.
That's perfect.
Mark Summers. Yeah, it's heck yeah. Anyway. I'm old.
So we hope that you have the guts for these questions here. I got a hidden one for you that's not in the outline. I got a surprise for you because, again, you're one of my favorite journalists that I follow, so I have I have to sneak in this question here. But first,
All right.
favorite video game of all time?
Man, it's always impossible to narrow to one, but in the spirit of the game, because it's like there's different ones that are, it's almost like for different categories, and I mean, especially different times of eras of my life. I mean, Super Mario Brothers 3 is up there, the original Doom is up there, Halo 2 is up there for what it did with online multiplayer. I think if we're pointing the proverbial gun at my head, and it's like, pick now or else. I would probably go with the original Doom, honestly. Okay. That game,
original Doom.
it transformed my life, and it continued. Like, I still play it today. Like, I still enjoy playing that game, single player or deathmatch. The level design, the weapon design, the music, just everything about that game, top to bottom, back to front. It created an entire genre called Doom clones. Like, literally, that was what we called them. Were Doom clones. Obviously, deathmatch was popularized. There's so much that I love about it. I was even on. None of you guys will probably remember this because it was kind of an obscure thing, but I was even on this pay dial-up service back in the day called DWANGO, which stood for Dial-Up Wide Area Network Gaming Organization. This is in the pre-internet days. Yeah, Doom is probably the one I'd go ahead and take, and it's just still it's everything, man. That game,
it holds up.
It's still fun to me to this day.
For sure. And you had that 2016 reboot that was really good as well.
Yeah, didn't screw it up. It did a great job. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. The new generation of id Software talent, because most of the old guys had moved on, the original crew. Oh, yeah. But yeah, that game 2016 was awesome, and Eternal was even better. And I'm curious to see what that team does next, and if we might even. There's been enough time since. I mean, Eternal was March of 2020, where 2 years and change. I think there's a decent chance that id Software's next project gets announced at the Xbox Bethesda showcase. We'll see.
Yeah. Maybe that's one of your predictions later, but we gotta get through these questions. Justin, ask the second one.
All right, so Doom on the PC original. So, what is your favorite gaming console of all time?
I mean, that's another one that's tough. It's like my first one was the NES, so there's a lot of nostalgia and fond memories there. The original Xbox meant a lot to me. I mean, I started my professional career on that console. I mean, I've been lucky. I've owned a number of them over the years, never more than one at a time until I was an adult with a job. As a kid, I went from NES to TurboGrafx 16.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Trading in the NES again, like there was never more than one in the house at the same time, and then like my buddies and I got the itch. I moved to I think the Genesis after that, then the Super NES, then back to the TurboGrafx in the form of the Turbo Duo when they packaged up the CD-ROM and the console itself into that one unit, and then let's see. Oh, and then let's see. Then the Atari Jaguar.
Wow,
that was short-lived.
Wow. Yeah,
one of the few. And then I went to PC gaming exclusively for many years until coming back. I guess for one generation, which was still a number of years before coming back around. I bought a GameCube.
There you go.
And then I guess let's see. Yeah. Anyway, and then the GTA 3 was the game that. I literally bought a PlayStation 2 because of Grand Theft Auto 3. Zero regrets there. Right. That game, that's another game that changed my life. And then the Xbox. So I guess by that point, then I had them all. But as a kid growing up, pre-PC, it was always one at a time. But let's see, answering this question, it's between the original Xbox and the 360 for me.
Okay.
The 360 had so many great games. But I'll tell you what, I'm probably gonna go with the original Xbox because, I mean, Halo 2, Halo 1 certainly as well, but Halo, the Genesis, the early days of Xbox Live,
right?
Those first couple of years,
LAN parties.
and LAN parties, but I mean, these were the days. I know I'm just going to sound like a crotchety old guy, but
we all did.
In the OG Xbox Live days, people wanted to be there, and it wasn't just like overrun with toxicity. It's not that the toxicity didn't exist, but it was not like just it wasn't the default. It wasn't just like, well, I'm probably going to get called something horrible or whatever on this game. Like, no, I played so much Ghost Recon.
There you go.
Which was a great port of the PC version, with people that actually wanted to communicate and play, and then Rainbow Six 3, Mech Assault, the sports, the XSN sports games, Lynx. I played with buddies and foursomes of Lynx, and Topspin.
Yeah,
Topspin I got real good at.
Great.
And then of course Halo 2 in 2004, and that legit changed. Like, Halo 2 did stuff that PC wasn't doing as far as the matchmaking system online. I mean, that was the server browser era. Right. And here comes Halo 2 with like, nope, we've got a virtual couch where you can just hang with your friends and keep going game to game. And just games like Splinter, I mean, all the Splinter Cells, but the first 3 were on the original Xbox, including Chaos Theory, the best of them all. Yeah. Cult classics like Breakdown, which my copy's still down there, still behind me somewhere. The Knights of the Old Republic, my favorite role-playing game of all time. Yeah. For a console that had a shelf life of 4 years, it had a crazy number of awesome games. It really did. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna go. And then admittedly, there's the emotional component with when I started my career at OXM. It was the original Xbox era, but I'm going original Xbox.
It's a good choice for sure.
Man, what's really funny, Ryan, is that you talk about Xbox Live, like nascent Xbox Live, and that community. Mike and I were literally just having this conversation 2 days ago, where I was saying that I've got friends that I've known for 20 years.
Yeah.
That I've never met.
Yep.
That are legit friends because of the early time of Xbox Live. Like, you gain friendships because these people were playing games. Like, I was playing games with these people before I was playing games with my friends. In the same, those same games, because it was the Xbox Live was so new. Right. That it was only the early adopters that were on there.
And it was such a good experience because this was still the 56K era by and large, and you had to have broadband to be on live. Yeah. So and everybody had a mic. And so you had this. It really was a revolutionary thing. Like, it sounds like a hyperbolic old man thing to say, but like, no, if you were there, the context of that era, it really was something special. And it's yes, it would have happened eventually, but Xbox did it first. They placed a huge bet. Everyone thought they were insane for putting an Ethernet port in every console and saying, well, we're gonna launch a broadband only online service. Right. What are you talking about? And no, it worked. It was incredible, and we got a lot of great games and great online experiences too.
Cicero, why don't you take the next question?
Oh, all right. There are questions. All right. Ryan, if you could live in a video game world, what world would you choose?
Oh, man. There's an interesting question. None of the Mario games, because it just doesn't... it's just a little too weird.
Yeah,
Mario.
It's just a little too weird. Not Halo, because there's plenty of things that want to kill me. Same thing with Doom. There's definitely a good answer to this somewhere that my brain is not immediately pulling. I'm just trying to think of some of my favorite games. I mean, even like if I were to choose Mass Effect, then it's like, well, the Reapers are out there and maybe everyone in the universe is going to get wiped out. So this might not be a good choice. Yeah, that's, I could play it safe because like Grand Theft Auto 2, I could just be murdered at any point or hit by a car.
You got Back to the Future, the Telltale, then you get your DeLorean.
That's true. You could go that way. But, maybe Forza Horizon 2. Because you've got this beautiful, you're in a beautiful place and nothing bad can really happen to you. You're in the south of France on the coast. So I'm going to go with Forza Horizon 2 without my brain able to come up with a better answer than that.
You get nice cars, that's for
You get a good soundtrack too.
Yeah, that too.
So would you be like would you be a racer or just one in the crowd during? Yeah,
I'd be driving
festival?
a car for sure. Yeah, I'd be in a car. Yeah, some sweet supercar just cruising around.
Okay.
Listening to Horizon Radio.
There you go.
All right. Justin, take this last one and then I got one more.
All right, so Desert Island game series. So you get to pick a whole game series, and you do have internet access. So you're stuck on a desert island, you get a whole game series. What would you choose?
That's there. I go right to GTA on that.
That's what I picked.
And that's I'll probably stop there. I mean like Halo's great, and yes, it'd be cool to have online, and I'm not even a GTA Online player, but I think between if I'm getting the whole franchise, I think I could make my own fun in Grand Theft Auto forever across the 3, Vice City, San Andreas, 4, 5, and even I guess I'm getting you're throwing in Chinatown Wars and like Liberty City Stories and some of these other ones too. So
definitely,
I'm gonna go with GTA on that.
That's a great pick. Like in 50 years, you also get a boat access drop off of GTA 6. So you'll have the new one
exactly.
when it releases
in 60 years.
I'm sure a lot of people would choose like Zelda, but I mean I've always been more of a Mario guy than a Zelda guy. Not that I don't like Zelda, I do. And the Mario franchise would probably be my second pick, but I'm going to go with GTA on this.
Very good.
All right. You mentioned 2 franchises that question actually spawned out of, which was Halo and GTA. We were arguing.
With the internet access, even if you don't play GTA Online, you got stories, but Halo is multiplayer and stories, so both of them are great picks.
All right, Ryan, my secret question.
Okay.
I know this is a video game podcast, but I have to ask you, because my favorite article that you've ever written is your opinion piece on The Dark Knight. And
I don't even remember it. I don't even know what I wrote.
So you wrote, I believe it was during Endgame, where you wrote that The Dark Knight is the best superhero movie. Oh, no, it was around its... like 15th or 10th anniversary. You wrote how it was the best superhero film of all time.
I am correct on that. That is not an opinion. That is a fact.
Okay. I was wondering.
It's a fact piece.
I was wondering, do you see any movie like being better than The Dark Knight? Has anything come close to your opinion on that?
Yeah, I mean, no, obviously, my opinion. There have been plenty of good ones. That's the nice part but I still, it's not just my favorite superhero movie. It is actually my favorite movie of all time at this point. It is held that for a while. I think it's there, and there are a lot of great, like, I mean, I think Jurassic Park 1 is basically a perfect film. And largely, you talk about Jurassic Park is one Hall of Fame Mount Rushmore movie, and then varying degrees of absolute garbage, which is it's insane how. Anyway, we're not talking about that. The Dark Knight.
They come in herds, so
they do move in herds. The Dark Knight. I mean, it's such a well acted movie, a well shot movie. And obviously the performances, of course, Ledger gets. I mean, there's never been a comic book movie perform. I mean, there have been great performances. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Downey is perfect as Iron Man, and there have been plenty of great acting performances. But yeah, it's that movie. The Dark Knight to me is infinitely rewatchable. I usually watch it at least once a year, sometimes a couple times. Usually, if I'm on a flight, like a long flight, I'll put it on. I've been really hyped for the Batman, but knowing in my head it's highly unlikely that it would ever reach the Dark Knight level. And I've watched it 3 times now. I went twice in theaters, and then I just watched it on HBO Max, and I ordered the Blu-ray. I'll dig in all the behind-the-scenes stuff when that Blu-ray, I think it's out later this month. The Batman has taken a firm, like, solid number 2 on my Batman list, live-action Batman list. I think it's excellent, but it's just Heath Ledger. It's just nothing's topping Heath, and that was like Christian Bale's best performance, and the story was like I rewatched part of Batman Begins not too long ago, and I thought I still think that's a great movie, but I feel like that one's starting to age a little bit. Like the Ra's al Ghul stuff is like, I don't know, but and then I actually think The Dark Knight Rises is awful. I hate that movie. It was just so out of character. It was like, this is not what this or any other Batman would do. He wouldn't just like, oh, my girlfriend died, who's not even my girlfriend. I'm quitting Batman. I'm not going to be Batman anymore. Like, what? No, you're like psychologically tortured, dude. That's established in all of these films because your parents were murdered in front of you. You know what the deal is.
Hey, spoilers.
But yeah, I know. Like that's never been shown in a Batman movie before. You'd never know if you hadn't seen them.
All of our podcast listeners have not seen Batman ever.
Anyway, The Dark Knight's so good. I know. I'm so glad we've had a lot of great. I think the Marvel movies have been, by and large, there have been some amazing like just audience, community, popcorn moments. I mean, I don't think I've ever had a theatrical experience as I did seeing Endgame on opening night with a theater. I mean, where everybody's hooting, hollering,
crying,
cheering, crying. Like I remember the guy next to me was so involved. He was so caught, like, and more power to him. I was like, I wish I cared about anything as much as this man cares about these characters in these films. He was, there were points in that movie which, I mean, I'm not gonna. I guess I don't have to worry about spoiling Endgame for anyone at this point. But no, it's been 4 years. Like this guy, he was literally bawling, like as if his own family member had died.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just was like, like that movie did such a great job of paying off something that had meant so much. And I don't think there's ever been in any genre, superhero or otherwise, where anything's been built up 22 movies. I mean, the Bond, there are lots of Bond movies, but they're not all like part of the same continuity with anyway, like and I thought the most recent Spider-Man, No Way Home was did that in a slightly different but very similar way where it paid off not as many films but 20 years worth of characters that we had.
I was that guy sitting next to you in Endgame. I was that guy in No Way Home.
So none of the Batman movies or any of the DC movies have had that, I think, effect on so many people the way that the Marvel stuff has. But to me, The Dark Knight is just this, like, I just knew right away. This is like that movie was incredible. It was just a masterpiece, and it still is, and I will always love it. And I hope something comes along and makes me feel like it's better than The Dark Knight, but that's still my number one spot 14 years later.
Wow.
Fantastic movie. Wow. Well, thanks, Ryan. I believe you had the guts. You answered all the questions with flying colors. So
excellent. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you get off the hot seat now. You're good. All right. We're gonna do a quick Halo check-in, and we'll start. Justin, are you caught up, by the way? I know
yes.
You were behind a little bit.
Yes, I have caught up.
Are.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't we start with you then, Justin? How was your episode 6 viewing? Did you enjoy it? Keep it spoiler free.
I had to catch up, so I watched 5 and 6 together. I was very, very glad that 5 was what everyone said it was. I was waiting for that episode. 6 did not skew my view at all. It was a great film, or great episode. The drama did ensue for a lot of it, but I feel like the reaching that I mentioned previously was paid off. I feel like these plot points that they're intertwining now are really going to set up the ending of season 9 or episode 9. And I feel like, that I don't want to spoil anything, but the ending was well needed and very, very nice to see, for sure.
Yeah. Cicero, episode 6. We watched part of this together.
Yeah, we did, and then you fell asleep.
That's true.
Well, yeah, but you had already seen it. Episode 6, Exposition Quest. This was so after we had a really action-focused episode 5, we received more payoff in episode 6 in build-up of a story that we were now, I think, as an audience, ready to receive, right? At this point, we got the stuff that we wanted to see, that we've been asking for and kind of like being impatient about throughout the course of the season. And now we got it. So now it's like, all right, well, we can get all this other information. And boy, did they give us a lot of information. There was so much there. This was the episode where I felt like I can just be a fan of this show and not be a fan of Halo watching a Halo show. Like this, it kind of set itself out on its own, and I can feel confident in going to someone who may not necessarily be a Halo fan at all and say, hey, watch this show.
Yeah. Ryan, episode 6 thoughts.
It's turning the corner for me. I've been not critical, but I've just been whelmed, not overwhelmed. I've just been whelmed by this show for the first, half of the season. And we're starting to get somewhere. Halsey has been the character I've found most interesting in the show the whole way. That remains true. I think she's more interesting than Chief is at this stage.
Sure.
It's Cortana's weirdly underused so far. I feel like we haven't really gotten a lot from her. I'm okay with that. I don't like McKee. I don't know what we're doing there. But yeah, I do like that we're starting to get somewhere with the show. It's clear where, as you said, we're probably going to end and set up for season 2. We got a little glimmer of that in episode 6. So yeah, I'm liking it more. I'm still I talked about this on Podcast Unlocked last week, and it's not a bad show by any stretch of the imagination, but the bar for premium television, again, we are living in the golden age of television. We have been for some time. There's just so many great shows. Right. The bar's so high. There are only so many hours in the day, and there are only so many streaming services that you want to sub to.
Exactly.
That it's just like, yep, the show's okay. It's all right. I think anybody that's choosing to wait until the season's over and then just do a free trial and binge it for Paramount Plus, you're probably making the right call. You don't need to go week to week and spend whatever, I guess, 2 months, pay for 2 months worth, or maybe 3 by the time.
Probably 3.
So yeah, I don't blame you at all. I went ahead and just did I did a couple months of Paramount Plus when the season started. And then I converted to the year because it's a little cheaper, because but I'm watching Picard, I'm watching Halo, I'm interested in Strange New Worlds. There's a good number of movies on there too, so right. I'm like, all right, for what amounts to basically $8 a month, I'll do the year sub on this. But yeah, if anybody out there, if nothing else on Paramount Plus is striking your fancy and you just want to check out Halo. Yeah, I think just wait and binge it at the end, and hopefully we are going to head towards an awesome finish line. And but yeah, for now it's okay, but trending in the right direction for me.
Yeah. So for me, maybe you guys disagree, but I think this was one of the stronger episodes out of all of them. I think that the underutilized Madrigal plot line in this episode is to its benefit.
The non-existent magical.
Yeah,
forgot all about that, didn't we?
Also didn't really want to spoil that they didn't get magical. Well, they didn't. There's no magical in this episode.
Right. That's you're not hurting.
You can say that.
Feelings,
it's fine. Yeah, nobody's going to be mad at you for that.
So yeah, that was perfect. I'm going to say something bold here, but I think this episode had one of the best opening scenes to an episode of all of television that I've watched personally. With the scene with Chief talking to Cortana and Halsey in that one room.
Oh yeah, sure.
I think that scene was phenomenal. The stakes were high. I don't want to spoil it because I think it's one of the.
It was very tense.
I think it's very tense and one of the best scenes.
Great acting.
All of Halo, not even just or within the franchise, but also all of television that I've personally seen. Again, I haven't seen a lot of television, but very, very good. I enjoyed the episode. Again, this is a highly rated episode because Madrigal had zero involvement. So, yeah. All right, that's our Halo check-in. Remember, listeners, we will have a full review of the full season coming up later, but stick to Test Your Might here for our weekly check-ins. Ryan, I'll go back to you. What have you been playing?
Lately, Moss Book 2 on PSVR. Okay. I love the first one. I reviewed the first one for IGN, and I'm still in the early stages of 2. I will say it does take a little more to get me to want to like hook up and then put on the PSVR headset. I almost didn't even want to play this game until it's inevitably ported to PC, just because the I'm such like a spoiled. This is such a. I'm so lucky to have access to all the toys at IGN, but the PSVR is just so old at this point where it's just like, it's by far the lowest everything of all the VR headsets that are on the market. It's just like literally underneath the camera, my camera's sitting on top of my PC, and underneath that, it's like up on a table because I have cool lights on it that I like to look at. And then down below, there is an index on loan from IGN that at some point I'll have to return to the office. But it's just like, can I just use that to play Moss Book 2, Chapter 2, please? But yeah, if you've never played Moss, the first one, it is on, I think, everything at this point. PSVR, PC. I think it's on. They ported it to the Quest 2. I think it's on all the VR platforms. It's an excellent game. It really is. And if you are playing it on, I guess, I don't know if you can play with a gamepad on a Quest, but if you're on any of the PC-based or console-based VR systems, it doesn't use the horrific Move controllers. It uses the DualShock 4. So you're actually controlling the game with a regular controller, and it's you are in this you are human size in observing this tiny world with this mouse, and but the gameplay's so good, the puzzles, everything about it. So that's been great. I want to get some time still. I haven't had a chance to really fire up MLB The Show 22 this year yet. That's been out for a couple weeks. I got to get into that. And then recently I had reviewed Tunic, which is so good. Tunic is, if you're a fan of old school Zelda, like Link to the Past era Zelda, this is a phenomenal game. Or if you're a Dark Souls fan, this is definitely up your alley as well. Tunic is excellent, and it's on Game Pass. So yeah, that's what's going on in my library at the moment.
Cicero, what have you been playing, man?
Well, I haven't been playing Tunic. I went to Tunic 1 week and was like, hey, this is Dark Souls. Then I said, all right, I'm going to come back to it, and I haven't. But I have been playing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I got two versions of that game, Ryan. The first version was the performance version, where I was like, oh, I want to play this in 60 frames per second.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and do it. And I've got an OLED, so I can do all the bells and whistles. And then one day I was like, oh, you know what? Let me switch it to resolution mode and see what it looks like. And then I discovered I had a whole new game called Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and it was beautiful. So I've been playing Tiny Tina's in resolution mode. It looks phenomenal. It plays phenomenal. Like even if it isn't a steady 60, it doesn't really, like, I'm not losing frames. I'm still able to play just as quickly and as responsively as I was able to play before. So it's great to play that way. Unlike Ryan, I have been able to play my annual RPG, aka MLB The Show, Road to the Show. I'm still upset over the fact that they are not allowing you to carry your character over from the previous year, as they had done in the past. But the game is just so damn good. Again, as everyone who listens to the show and listens to what I've been playing every week knows that it's some sports game, along with some other games. Mm-hmm. This game does consistently, the guys over at San Diego Studios recreate their sport more accurately, more and it's more immersive than any of the other games that are out. Any of the other sports games, they do the best job of recreating the sport that they're trying to mimic, and they've done it again. I really wanted to boycott them because I wasn't able to carry my character over, but they got me.
And I'm so glad too. Like, obviously they were successful as a Sony exclusive studio, mm-hmm. but boy, they are basically now guaranteed job and franchise security now that it's on Xbox and Switch as well. Like, we are going to get MLB The Show as long as MLB doesn't do anything dumb in the future, like, yank the contract or make the contract renewal terms so ridiculous that Sony just can't, out in any logic, say yes.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just so glad we're going to keep getting that game, and that everybody, all baseball fans on all the major console platforms have access to it, because you're so right. It's been so good for so long, and it's been the PlayStation gamers' little baseball secret, and now I'm just glad everybody else can play too.
It has been the impetus for me buying PlayStation consoles in the past. I came for the show, and I stayed for all of the great first-party titles that were there. But what is more amazing than all of that is the fact that, as a person who has an Xbox and Game Pass, I am able to, for the first time ever, and I still wound up spending money on it, for the first time ever, I didn't have to pay the amount of money for the game as I have in years past. Last year, I bought the game on Game Pass, or I had the game on Game Pass, but also bought the Jackie Robinson edition on the PlayStation, just so that when I got my PS5, I'd be able to compare the two versions, the Series X and the PS5 version. Joke's on me. I got my PS5 in February of 2022. So I bought it in March of 2021, and I didn't get to try it out until February of 2022 So
that's poor planning.
Yeah,
the dev team had literally finished, and like it. MLB The Show 22 had gone gold by the time.
So that's what I've been playing. I've been playing a lot of the show. Cool. It's if you like baseball, or if you like sports games, it's so great. And again, the other thing that I said this last week, the great thing about baseball is you could do everything right and still have an unsuccessful offensive at bat, appearance. You could hit the ball right, you could do all the things, but if somebody's in that spot, then that's all that matters. But
I'm so glad that the dark days of the post MVP 2005 era, when MLB, or actually when 2K went and got all jealous because of the EA Madden deal, and we're gonna sign baseball and no more MVP, and that was a dark time for baseball fans. I mean, like, MLB 2K wasn't terrible, but it was. We had MVP ripped away from us.
Right. Yeah. It was
and
no.
So
it was
thank
no
goodness
MVP.
we have the show now for now and the foreseeable future.
Yes.
Justin, what have you been playing?
So, weekly check-in for Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. I'm at 98, just over 98% of the galaxy complete. I did have to set it down because there are some bugs that prevent me from getting the 100%. Unfortunately. So I have to wait until they patch the game. I'm not able to complete some of the tasks. Just simple little tasks. Once they patch it, there it is. But other than that, I did pick up a new game, shout out Game Pass again, called Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. And this is a game that just got added to Game Pass recently. Sounds hysterical from just the title. It is hysterical. And coming from Tunic before, this is very Zelda-like. You are collecting items, you are moving across the map in a overworld, and fighting monsters, fighting bosses, solving little crimes. It's a very, very funny game. You're literally ripping up papers and love letters and stuff right in front of people and just seeing their reactions. It's very good, very simple, very quick to play. I think I'm an hour in and it's already at like 17-18%, so I'm pretty good. Other than that, stopped at Six Flags today with the family, right? Went into the arcade and blew the kid's mind with Guitar Hero Arcade.
Nice.
Got in there at expert mode, beast moded the song, and earned some respect.
There you go.
So that's always good.
There you go.
Did you like drop the guitar like a mic drop, or
Those are
like
heavy.
Those are heavy. Yeah, they're very heavy. And they are on that like cable attachment so they don't break.
Yeah.
Right. They would just
All right,
kind of
so-
I would have probably dented the floor if I did that, but I think the performance enough and the high score. Yeah.
No mic drop, please.
No smashing the guitars.
Right.
I think the high score
By the way,
was everything enough. You didn't really have to worry about smashing it.
If the desert island question earlier, if I had been on the desert island with friends or family and had a franchise and an internet connection, it would have been Rock Band.
There you go.
And this is I would have needed assurance too that the instruments were never going to break.
Right.
but yeah, like God, I miss the Guitar Hero Rock Band days, man.
I still have
that
my
was
setup.
such an amazing era of gaming. I've in gaming for most of my life, I've still never experienced a cooperative moment that like what those games provide. It is very different than like we're co-oping Halo together, or it's just like when you are on these plastic instruments on whatever difficulty works for you, and you are deploying your star power together and maximizing your score.
Oh man.
Some of the best feelings,
I wish
for sure.
there are certain eras that I wish I could time travel back to go back and like relive for the first time, and certainly like the Halo 2 era would be one. But the Guitar Hero Rock Band era would be another one that I wish I could travel back to, man.
So you're saying that when Phil Spencer said the back catalog of Blizzard and Activision, he mentioned Guitar Hero, you were very excited to bringing it back.
I don't think anybody's making instruments anytime soon.
Yeah,
like,
no.
I mean, Epic bought Harmonix.
Yeah.
Epic's got billions of dollars of Fortnite cash. So, I mean, maybe at some point, like, because they could afford to do it at a loss. Like, they can eat,
Fan
they can
service.
just, like, eat that if they feel like it. Like, that's the good news, is that, okay, Harmonix got bought by a very, very deep-pocketed studio that doesn't have to answer to shareholders. Yeah. So, because, like, shareholders would be like, no, don't spend $50 million on bringing Rock Band back as far as like game development budget, plastic instrument manufacturing budget. That's ridiculous. We want a return on our shares. But Epic probably makes more. Probably 1 week of Fortnite probably would cover an entire run of new instruments and the budget of a new game. So I'm hopeful. Like if Microsoft, like, I feel like they almost literally would have to do it together, like not in a literal corporate partnership, but like Phil would go meet with Tim Sweeney and the Harmonix people. You're like, we're thinking of bringing back Guitar Hero. Are you guys gonna do like let's all because it would take. I think it would take both of them to get it, to kind of bring it back into the collective consciousness. Anyway, I need that to happen. So if you guys can get on that for me, that's
as long as my 1,600, 1,700 songs in Rock Band are able to be played on the new one, that would be great.
Well, they put in the work to port it all from 360 to Xbox One, PS3 to PS4. So it's all there. Yeah. I mean, I know there are like legal issues with the licensing rights to those songs that are out of anyone's control, out of Microsoft's control, Sony's control, but I'm with you. Yeah, I've got a massive Rock Band catalog that would be great to see live on and thrive.
Oh, I would love it.
Say it ain't so.
Anyway, I'm done derailing your show now. Continue, please.
That's what we do here.
That's what we do.
That's what we do. Yes.
Welcome home.
I have not had much time to game, but the games that I have dabbled with this week are Super Mario Picross on the Switch Online service.
Okay.
That's just like a jump in, solve a couple puzzles, jump out. No attachment really needed. And then Nobody Saves the World is one that I've been playing as well. I just got to the part where you are able to add separate abilities to your character and basically customize, basically create a multi-class and customize things. So, and then I went to a dungeon that I don't like you dungeon, so I'm just gonna put you down as well for now. I'm not giving up on the game. I still like it. I think it's incredibly funny, and I think that the dungeon and the combat, it works well. It's kind of like Diablo style combat. So it works really well. And then with the humor, Drinkbox does really good stuff too. So just probably gonna stick with it, but I might maybe play like a sports game or something in between it. Just
palate cleanser.
Yeah, a little bit. So, let's get into the news, guys. Xbox and Bethesda showcase has been announced for June 12th. Cicero, give me a prediction, and then maybe something crazy and outlandish that you would love to see.
Prediction. We will see a 15-minute Starfield demo.
Okay.
I would love it.
Really going out on a limb on that one, Cicero.
And now what's the second? The second thing was
like something crazy that
something crazy
is out of reach. But
so out of reach. Starfield will be available this year.
That's happening. That's happening. That's concrete. They're not missing that date.
No, I'm saying it will not happen. It will be delayed. I'm saying that my crazy prediction
is that it will get delayed.
That it will make it in November. That's my crazy prediction.
All right, Justin, a couple things there, prediction, and then crazy thing.
Well, you know me, I've got to go one up to Cicero. So 15-minute game video of Fable. And they haven't spoke about it for a while, and I'm looking forward to it for sure. So real gameplay.
You think gameplay is coming this year?
Hey, I got a one up
Fable?
Cicero. So
okay. See, you should maybe slide that into your crazy outlandish prediction.
Oh no, man! Don't tell him what to do.
Okay.
Crazy
He's
outlandish.
a rooster. You gotta let him fly.
I'm a duck. Gotta let
He's
him.
A duck.
My outlandish would probably be them to announce. I feel like a dongle is coming. Like, I know we've spoke about it in the past, but if they were to bring a dongle and just say, hey, plug this into your TV, there's Xbox Game Pass, $50, and then your subscription on top of it, here you go. You know, it's something that's possible. Bluetooth support. I doubt they're working on it, but it's out there.
I don't know if I doubt that too much, but maybe crazy for this year. I don't know. Ryan, prediction, craziness.
All right. Let's see. I think because there are some games that were announced back in 2020 that we haven't seen or heard a word of since. Fable was one of them. I will say we see gameplay from Avowed
there we go.
this year.
That's good.
That maybe it's too early, but I'm gonna say, and maybe they wouldn't even put that in the same show as Starfield, so maybe I'm gonna end up wrong on this one. But I mean, Avowed was definitely one of the most promising games from that 2020 showcase.
Great, for sure.
So, and it's Obsidian, so and they're super busy over there doing all kinds of neat stuff. So we know that The Outer Worlds 2 is very early. You know, they poked fun at themselves with that very meta fourth wall hilarious announced trailer last year. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Avowed, little gameplay teaser on that. And then stepping out onto a limb, going outlandish, I'm gonna say that they announced the acquisition of Capcom.
Ooh.
That's not, by the way, let me make it very clear for anyone listening to this. I do not want to see any headlines of like IGN guy says, no.
Hey,
you're asking for crazy predictions. I've talked about this on Unlock before. Like I just think like if Phil did want to go out and acquire Japanese talent, I know like Sega's been the one that has been rumored and talked about a lot, and it makes sense, but like you look at Capcom, if Microsoft wanted to just get Japanese talent on board in a like turnkey big way, Capcom is very talented. They're not enormous. Right. You know, the price tag wouldn't be anywhere near the Activision Blizzard price tag.
Right. It wouldn't even be near the Bethesda price tag.
No, yeah, I don't even think it would. It maybe, I don't know what it would be, but I'll bet it would be half of that maybe. Right. But they've got a lot of talented teams, talented developers. You'd get the Resident Evil IP. You'd get, you'd get Devil May Cry. You'd get Mega Man if you wanted to dig that back up. Bionic Commando if you wanted to dig that back up. You'd get a lot of Dead Rising, which I mean they had previously kind of been partners with Capcom on anyway. But I don't know. I just think if they did want to just go for take a big swing in Japan, Capcom would be the way to go. Now, of course, again, Capcom might not want to sell, or there's any million reasons. But we're talking outlandish. There's my outlandish thought.
Capcom's net worth as of last week is $5.61 billion. So yes, you're
okay.
right.
Really?
But honestly, with a lot of major companies
but
like with a lot of major companies getting bought, it does raise the price for sure. They would probably match or just a little higher Bethesda at this point because of the IPs alone.
Yeah, it would probably be close, but that's still like let's say, all right, if you're offering a premium on this 5.6, so like, all right, we'll offer 7, says Microsoft. I don't think they turn that down.
No.
And that's still like couch cushion money for Microsoft, whose market cap is, I think, over $2 trillion at the moment.
Yeah,
so
I need their couch cushions. All right. My prediction is that I think that 343 is going to give into the Battle Royale hype. They have in their new Battle Pass, in their new season coming up, they do have a last man standing mode that is very Battle Royale-esque with only 60 players, kind of like Apex, but it's a constantly moving circle. And I think that people are just vying for a Halo BR, and I think that they're a little bit behind in the kind of like the cultural perception of what their live service needs to be. And so I think that they're gonna announce a proper battle royale for Halo coming. I don't think it'd be like hey, it's released now. I think it maybe just this fall battle royale is coming, maybe as like you guys were speculating this on Unlock this past week, maybe kind of as like a soft reboot of Halo Infinite come this fall, have this killer BR mode to kind of help that. Crazy prediction.
That wasn't a crazy prediction.
No. Banjo-Kazooie is coming back. No. I know Tim Schafer has said that Double Fine will never do it, but they're going to be consultants on it. Rare's going to set aside a small team. Rare's going to be the primary developer. Tim Schafer and his team are going to consult and create the comedy. And
I am picturing Tim Schafer standing on like a dais a la Mickey Mouse in Fantasia, just controlling the Rare team.
I just see Banjo running back and forth in front,
making them design everything that's going on. That's okay.
All right. All right, guys. It is time to get to our namesake, which is Test Your Might. Ryan, have you debated before? Do you have any experience with debating?
Was never on the debate team in high school. Yeah, like I said, I'm just gonna channel my inner New Jersey guy. That's all we're doing here.
All right. Well, I think you have a good shot here with your.
He's podcasting here.
Yeah. I think he has a good shot with your video game history and knowledge. So let's. You are our guest, so you get to go first. But there's a way that you go first. Let me explain. Okay. First, here's the question. Disney Dreamlight Valley is a building sim in the same vein as like Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
So what other intellectual property would make a great Animal Crossing like? So pitch me a game in an intellectual property for this type of game. Now, the reason why I said you might go first is because you actually have the power. You can set the debate.
Like He-Man.
Yes. Mm-hmm. You can set the debate whichever way you want to go. If you want Justin first, you in the middle, Cicero last, that is your decision. You get to choose who goes first, middle, and last.
All right. So I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna go with something that I don't personally play, but my daughter does, and I'm hoping I'm gonna be familiar enough to stay strong in this debate. But I'm going to say Pokemon. Pokemon, that would sell a bajillion copies. If you just made a Pokemon Animal Crossing game. Like you're already almost halfway there with the Pokemon games as is.
Okay.
So there it is. I'm laying it out.
All right, we'll come back to you, Ryan. Who goes next?
Well, I got to go to my man Cicero next.
All right, Cicero.
Damn you, Ryan, because you took my Pokemon. This is gonna seem like it's coming out of left field, but this game almost is that. But let's talk Rare. Let's talk Viva Pinata.
Oh.
Viva Pinata as a Animal Crossing like.
Yeah.
Now, I did not specify, but you didn't have to stay with video games. Let's see if Justin goes outside of video games.
You're just throwing in extra wrinkles in. Okay, that's fine. All right, I see what's going on.
He did say IP. He didn't say
I said intellectual property. So
to be fair, I am going video game. So
you are going video game. That's okay. Cool.
So it is fair across the board.
Cool. I'm just very surprised that you both went with video games.
Well, it is the video game number one video game.
Pokemon wasn't originally a video game, though.
That's true. That's true. All right.
Viva Pinata was a TV show.
I will be looking forward to your card implementation to this video game, right? Justin, go ahead. What's your choice?
So, as Ryan selected something that sold bajillion copies, I'm also picking something that has sold bajillion copies, and that's going to be Minecraft. And I feel like a town management simulator would work very well in the IP of kind of an Animal Crossing-esque game, collecting creatures, items, building things, pre-built options for different things for your house. It would make you, it would allow kids to play and build things that they see other streamers build, but already be pre-built, and you just have to gain supplies. I think it would work good.
Ryan, a little bit more on your Pokemon game, and then a rebuttal to these guys.
All right. Well, first of all, Justin, I'm sorry, but Minecraft practically is already.
But it's not.
It's already so chill. I think we're gonna have to sweep this Minecraft idea away. But no, I mean, hey, Pokemon. See, the thing is, you've got a million different but like you literally have dozens, if not hundreds, of Pokemon to work with. in terms of, yeah, in terms of characters to interact with and have in your garden or, in your area, in your home base, your homestead. You have a colorful, established world. You have, the humans are already the Pokemon trainers. It's like the IP is already kind of pre-built to do this in a way that I think that existing fans of Pokemon would pick up immediately with like no real. It wouldn't be like trying to turn Pokemon into a first-person shooter where it'd just be like, what? Although I'd pay to see that. That would be interesting. But yeah, I just think there's so many characters. The art direction of Pokemon, the role of the humans in the Pokemon world, the sort of interactive aspects of inviting friends to your sort of gym or your area or both, and you could still meet up and have them fight at the gym, and it's already like 3/4 of the way there. I feel like that, and as far as I guess working cards in, well, maybe that comes in you can earn cards for accomplishing certain tasks, almost like sort of in-game achievements that are baked into gameplay. You could utilize those cards in those gym battles. There's a number of ways you could do it. Maybe you could scan in real life Pokemon cards somehow that you already have to sort of translate into game stuff. And I just think there's the more I think about it, the more I'm wondering how this game hasn't already been made by actual professionals. So I'm laying it out there. I think Pokemon is the way to go with this.
Cicero, rebuttal.
Yeah. So originally, I was when I heard this question, Pokemon was the first thing that popped into my head. But then I realized, as Ryan's describing it, it's almost too easy, right? It's like one of the reasons that it hasn't been made is because people are like, oh, come on, no, that is way too derivative. What we need is Viva Pinata. Viva Pinata gives you a lot of those same elements, right? You've got weird pinata animals, right? So you don't have to be a human. Your avatar could be one of these goofy pinatas. And then it's all about, so what are the great things about Animal Crossing is you get to build a house and you get your feng shui and you're doing all the stuff and you're setting things up the way that you want to. Imagine the aesthetic being changed to paper mache, and you're doing that same thing in these paper mache areas, and then you're building your gardens like in Viva Pinata, but you've got all of these different areas that you could go to. You could go visit other people's pinata lands, and it's almost like an Animal Crossing skin. It is just now paper mache with little candies on the inside that can be collectibles. Just like, you have a pinata visit, just like in Animal Crossing. You could visit somebody else's island and they've got different fruit. You could visit other people's pinatas and they've got different candies. But I do agree with Ryan that Minecraft is basically like you could build Animal Crossing inside Minecraft today. So I think it gets disqualified, but I'm not the judge.
That's right. That is me. Justin, defend yourself,
of
my
course.
friend.
I'd hate to do this, but Duck uses Quack Attack instead of Quick Attack.
Uh-oh.
And Ryan, you've got Pokemon over there, but Pokemon is about battling, collecting Pokemon, and fighting other trainers, when Animal Crossing is about collection and building. And then Cicero over here with Viva Pinata and the most even less adult-friendly game, because you're beating pinatas with sticks, as I learned last time, and collecting their candy from them. Definitely not adult-friendly. But on the other hand, Minecraft is adult-friendly and kid-friendly. So you've got, the collection element of different elements, different objects. Yeah, you do that in Minecraft, but you don't have your own. Think of it as a realm, which is in Minecraft, but think of it's yours, that you're customizing with things that you have built, with things you have created and collected. So you're working with friends that can come into your world, help you customize it, which is a big key element of Animal Crossing. And then also working together to go and collect other items from other people's, seeds, as they call them in Minecraft, or realms. you're working as a team to farm different, animals. You're using it to go and fight bad guys, including ender dragons. As a team, I think it would be a great Animal Crossing crossover that would rejuvenate Minecraft. Minecraft has gotten, very, very update oriented, but very slim updates. And I think this new element of collection and working as a team with your friends on your world to customize it and also build a better town that protects you against the night, I think it would do great. Enemies would be coming in, and you wouldn't have to worry because you would be building those walls yourself as a team with your friends or by yourself. So I feel like it would be a great, yes, easy to transfer, but a completely different game as a whole because you're working to work up this town and, hiring different villagers that have different roles to do different things, as well as, with Pokemon, it's about battling. Sure, you're collecting cards, as Ryan said, but I don't think people are going to be very happy about collecting the same things that they've been doing in every game since the launch of Pokemon. You're just collecting Pokemon. You're not building things. You're not creating structures, towns, which is a big part of Animal Crossing. And Viva Pinata is all about the same element, piñatas. But you're beating them with sticks to get their candy, which is just, I think it's just, that's not kid friendly at all, Cicero. So, I think I defended myself pretty well.
Ryan, one final quick rebuttal from you.
Well, we've already established that Minecraft's a terrible idea. We're gonna move on from there and turn to Cicero, who has chosen an IP that has failed as a video game and failed as a TV show.
Right.
If we move ahead with Cicero, it's going to fail a third time.
I forgot about that.
As another form of video game. So it's just not a good idea. It's just not a good idea. And nobody's going to stop playing Minecraft to just go play another passive form of Minecraft. It's got to be Pokemon because inherently people love collecting Pokemon, and you would be doing that in an Animal Crossing-esque Pokemon game. So I feel that I have conclusively won this debate, and I will take no further questions at this time.
He wants to be the very best.
I respect the gentleman from the West Coast as he has talked about the two failures of my proposed game, and he is correct. He is correct. It has failed in two separate mediums, or it has not lived up to expectations in two separate mediums, but have you heard of the idiom, the third time's the charm? The third time is the charm.
Not and for the Crackdown. Charm
is that is true. That is true, but we're not talking Crackdown.
I will mix that.
Speaking of other Microsoft properties.
Right.
Oh, I'm so sad about that.
That will be nixed from the record.
Right. We're talking Viva Pinata, and Viva Pinata, it's one of the reasons that it didn't work well was because they were almost there. They were almost there with what would resonate with kids and the kid at heart. And if they had turned Viva Pinata into an Animal Crossing like game, they would have had a better chance of getting those people together. Instead, they tried to turn it into a strategy game, and the strategy just didn't seem to work, especially with the fact that part of the strategy was beating up piñatas that were sick and then cannibalizing them and having other piñatas eat their insides. Mm-hmm. So that is an element that that is something of our past that we won't really mention, but we will emphasize the fact that kids do like piñatas because they like candy and they like effigies. So it's effigy quest. We can do it. Viva Pinata, effigy quest.
Justin, one final rebuttal.
I just don't understand Cicero trying to forspoken his past, but I hear Ryan over here. He's pitched a great idea, but he didn't really describe how the town management would work. Animal Crossing is all about getting town members in, collecting things, and building your house, making the town better than it was prior. And I have talked about that. I've talked about bringing in villagers that help with different tasks. I've talked about your friends coming and helping so the internet won't be a problem like Animal Crossing was. I talked about collecting different objects and working with your team to fight bigger bosses and then get more rewards and spoils. I feel like the uniqueness of that makes it a viable option. And I feel like having the option to choose what you want to decorate with and what you want to build is very key, because that's what makes it customizable. With their games, you get what the game supplies with Pokemon or pinatas, cannibalistic pinatas. So you've got those two options, but that's what you have to work with. You're collecting what they have, but the customization of what you have around you in your own world is where mine flies with colors, I think.
All right, I'm calling it. Cicero, you're out, man. Pinatas.
Yeah, I won.
No. And Justin, you were right. Ryan created a great game. So Ryan, you got this one.
Being nice to the guest. I love it.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, you stole Cicero's idea, and I think
not on purpose.
I think the Minecraft dings that you guys had were too big for Justin to overcome. And I like your aspect of building your gym. He did say something about building your gym and customizing your gym, so you did a good job there, Ryan.
Thank you.
All right.
In all seriousness, though, Cicero, Viva Pinata, my daughter loves that game, and I think that game, in hindsight, with the benefit of 2020 hindsight, it was ahead of its time. If it 100%. Came out now, if it had been made, I think it was just made too early, weirdly.
It was too early. It was too early, and it was marketed wrong.
Yeah.
Or
great
wrong,
game, though.
Meaning not at all. So, great game.
All right. So we're going to go around the horn here. Cicero, you're up next for first choice here. Now, before we argue, I want you to give me your decision, and then we will hold the debate. So there has been
pickles.
There has been a Twitter discourse this week about people not being able to name a better sequel than Last of Us Part 2. And it obviously was getting absolutely blasted by everybody, naming all the sequels that were better. I ask the panel, what is the best sequel of all time? And I do state that it does not have to be a number 2. Cicero, what is your game that you would like to argue? And then I'll go around the panel, and then we'll come back to you for your argument.
Oh, man. I'm gonna argue Mass Effect 2.
Okay. Justin.
I'm gonna go with Uncharted 4.
And Ryan.
So is this just like the leap over the previous game? Is that sort of the thing we're looking at here, or just like, are we looking at like best game of all time? That is a
sequel.
Are we comparing to every game? Like I need a little clarification on the rules here.
I will say you can, depending on how the argument presents itself from your opponents, you can go whichever way you want. But I would probably lean the former, so the leaps and bounds above its original, and then the arguments will inevitably go to which game is better. So
cool. All right. Well, Jordan crosses over, fades back over Russell. Grand Theft Auto 3.
3.
Yeah, because we're going from 2 to 3.
Wow. Oh, okay.
We're going from top-down 2D to full open world living 3D.
Okay.
Oh, man.
All right. So yeah, like I said, Cicero will probably argue why ME2 is better than GTA 3, but definitely go for it, Cicero. Why is Mass Effect 2? Does anybody call it ME2? I'm sorry. All you Mass Effect fans, I'm sorry if they don't call it that.
Oh, no. I mean, I've heard it interchangeably.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Once people know what you're talking about, then yeah.
I beat the original Mass Effect for the first time last year. So, Cicero, Mass Effect 2.
So Mass Effect 2 is the Empire Strikes Back of video games. It presents itself as part of a space epic. It's in much the same ways that Star Wars, that Empire Strikes Back is to Star Wars. Mass Effect 2 is to the original Mass Effect. It takes a thing that people were completely a story in a world that people were completely enraptured by, and ups the stakes. It accentuates all of the things that it did great. It downplays the things that it did not so great, and then it ramps up all of the things, all of the stakes, all of the things that you thought you knew and understood about this world, and flips them all on its head, and you don't know what's going to happen next, and it just takes you for a ride. The greatest sequel of all time, Mass Effect 2.
Justin, Uncharted 4.
So, Uncharted 4, it has what it seems to be like a bookend to the story of Uncharted. I know you've never played Uncharted, so this is going to be an uphill battle from the start. But from Uncharted 4, when you play, it almost feels as if you're watching a movie. That's how immersive this game is. You know, from cutscene to action gameplay and adventure, you are a lead role in this movie experience that you're playing. And the closing of this game is one of the best closings to a story of Nathan Drake that they could have written. And I really think that the jump from 3 to this really showed what they're capable of. And if they were to ever come back, people would know that. Because the impact, the emotions, the voice acting, it hits you right to the bone. And I feel like it really, like I said it best by saying it's a bookend. It is one of the best endings they could have ever written or presented to us. And I feel like it did it justice, and it really solidified our love for Nathan Drake as a character.
Ryan, GTA 3.
You took a series that had a couple iterations, but nobody really paid much attention to it, and you transformed it into a game that was an actual paradigm shift in the entire industry. It changed everything about games. The idea of nonlinear gameplay, of free-form, just complete freedom of exploration and freedom to approach missions and objectives in multiple ways, and no two people played this game alike. It felt like a living world with pedestrians that would yell crazy things at you, with all sorts of characters throughout the story and the missions. You had the radio stations. Something like this had never been seen before, where everything from, of course, from Chatterbox and Laszlo. There are countless stories, I'm one of them, of people playing Grand Theft Auto 3 and just like stealing a car and just pulling over somewhere and just listening to the radio stations. I mean, this is a series, and it was geographically diverse. It starts in sort of the industrial area. You move to downtown. Then you get the suburbs later. It's this beautiful world. So many different vehicles, so many hidden objectives. You find out you can steal a taxi, and now I can click in the right stick and start taking taxi missions. You can do the same thing with ambulances and fire trucks and police vehicles. There were just the layers. This game just has like 1,000 layers to it. Gaming was never the same after GTA 3. GTA 3 was so good, nothing could even successfully come close to approaching it until, I would argue, Mercenaries from LucasArts published that, and I'm blanking on the developer. That was Pandemic Studios, I believe, did that. But that took years for anyone to even approximate that formula in any kind of reasonable way. GTA 3 was it sold consoles, PS2s, to people like me. It was just it changed the game. It really did.
You were correct on Pandemic Studios.
Thank you. Yay, old man brain still functioning a little bit.
Cicero rebuttal. Why is Mass Effect 2 better than these guys?
Well, they both pick great games, right? So I'm not even going to try and knock their choices for great sequels, but they're not the greatest, because while Ryan is right with GTA and being a paradigm shift in the way games are played, what he can't tell you is kind of what that story was about, right? Like you were wrongly convicted, your hands blew up, and then you came out and you were trying to figure out what was going on. But like, and that's fine, right? That's fine. But the thing about what GTA 3 was versus what ME2 is an evolution in the way that stories are being told in this medium that we call video games, in a way that allows people outside of the medium to really pay attention to the seriousness and the gravitas of what this hobby is as an art form. With this game, in terms of things that had never been done before, this was one of the first, if not the very first game where you took a story from a previous version, from the previous game, and you brought in narrative elements into your current game, and then you brought those elements into a third game. So talking about someone not having the same experience, people legitimately didn't have the same experiences based on the choices that they made in the game, in the first game and in the second game with Mass Effect 2. And on top of that, they took the engine and they made it run better, and they took the game and turned it from a turn-based RPG into a quasi real-time RPG, almost an action game in Mass Effect 2, and that has paid dividends all across, not only in BioWare, but all across the industry. So yes, while Ryan is correct that GTA 3 had a lasting effect on the industry, I would argue that Mass Effect 2 had an equal level of importance on our industry. Plus, it had a much better narrative.
Justin,
I agree with Cicero when it comes to GTA 3's storyline. I don't remember much, and I did play it growing up. I remember San Andreas more. For the element of bringing it from a bird's eye view into the 3D realm, sure, that's great. That is a big jump for technology. I do think that Rockstar did it right there. And the fact you could play it how you want, that's great too. I'm glad we all picked third-person action-adventure kind of games for the most part. Cicero's is great as well with Mass Effect, but the problem is no matter what you decide, sure, the story and the direction you're going and the characters around you change based on your choices, but you're still pigeonholed pretty much into that ending. So it is a linear experience regardless. There might be small differences, but for the most part, it's a great narrative, but I feel like the immersion level is where it misses you. With the action and the characters, you're getting the narrative, but when it comes to Uncharted, which you guys haven't spoken much about, I feel like the action really immerses you in a way that is movie-like, as if you're watching and caring about these characters, as if you are Nathan Drake. And the camera pans and the sound quality and the voice acting really do immerse your value in that game. And I feel like the story is complete. It sure is a linear experience, but it is a hard ride all the way, and you enjoy the entire experience.
Ryan, one final rebuttal from you.
Sure. Well, I would say while Uncharted 4 was fun, I think Justin would have had a better case if he'd have chosen Uncharted 2, leaping over Uncharted 1. Personally, 4 was not the best regarded. It was regarded better than 3, but I don't even think it's the best regarded game in the series by a long shot. Good stuff. I actually thought Uncharted 4 was a little too long, personally. I thought that game could have been tightened up, kind of like Max Payne 3, another awesome cinematic third-person shooter / action game. I guess Uncharted's not a shooter, but third-person action game probably could have had a few hours lopped off of it. And then Mass Effect 2, yes, a lot of people love Mass Effect 2. The thing about that game, though, is it's not even a great story. It is a collection of awesome individual stories. The loyalty missions are what anyone remembers about Mass Effect 2. The last boss fight in Mass Effect 2 is stupid. You are fighting this like giant Terminator amalgamation thing. It is awful. It is a legit awful boss fight. The likes of which 1 or 3 did not have anything near that dumb. Totally, like those loyalty missions are awesome in Mass Effect 2. There is no questioning that. You make a point to go do all of them, even though you don't have to, but to get the most out of that game, you absolutely should. But yeah, we're talking about GTA 3 is a game effectively. I mean, it basically doesn't have flaws. It is nearly a perfect video game. Okay, the guys are critiquing the story, but I would say, I mean, yeah, it's a pretty generic mafioso, like you're working your way up the crime family ladder. But the fact that they pulled off an interesting story with a mute protagonist is hilarious to me. And it is definitely more about the world than the story, but it's a world that changed the gaming world. Whereas, I mean, I know there's so many Mass Effect 2 fans out there that's their favorite. For me, I still stand the first game. I think the story, I concede, yes, the action is much better. The actual like combat is better in 2, and then it got even better. I mean, 3 was basically a Gears of War game. It was a very polished third-person shooter. But the first game, the story is amazing. The characters are incredible. Cicero didn't do himself any favors by not even mentioning the Paragon and Renegade system in Mass Effect, which is in all the games. But I mean, probably my favorite moment from Mass Effect 2, which is great, is there's punching the reporter in the face, because I played full Renegade. Spoiler alert. And then there's one point. You're up in like a tall under construction building with somebody who's not telling you what you want to hear, and you can just Renegade shove them off the building. And it's so the Paragon Renegade choices, Cicero, you should have mentioned those because they're so good. But I still think GTA, the leap from GTA 2 to GTA 3 is far more impactful on not only the franchise but the entire games industry than the leap from Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2 or Uncharted 3 to Uncharted 4. I rest my case, Your Honor.
I hear you on that. I feel like there was so many dings on Mass Effect 2 and GTA 3 that like Justin like snuck in and kind of won that argument. I really liked him playing the fact that like it's kind of like this movie experience, but you're kind of controlling it and very immersed. So I'm going with Justin on that one.
Okay.
All right. We're getting a little late here, so I'm going to switch the style of this next debate. So you guys are going to name what you're going to pitch, and then your rebuttals will be within your opening arguments, and that's all I'm going to hear is your opening arguments. Okay? So, Telltale's The Walking Dead was pitched as a Left 4 Dead style game. So pitch me a game that is already established, but switching its genre. Okay, so take Pokemon, for example. You're taking Pokemon, it's an established game, switch its genre. Just like The Walking Dead was pitched like. So, let's see, who won that? Justin won that. Goes back to, well, actually, Justin, you're starting this, because that's what we went around the horn. So, tell me your game, then tell me the genre you're switching it to.
Okay. My game is going to be a curveball called Five Nights at Freddy's, and I'm switching it to a business simulation game.
Okay. All right. Okay.
If you didn't know, survival horror adventure was the original. All right.
Yeah. Ryan, what game and then what genre?
Ooh, this is a tough one. Boy, this is a tough one. There's just like, where do you even go? Like Halo's already been switched back to a real-time strategy game from whence it originally came, and that worked out very well. Gears of War also got a switch to tactics, which worked really well also. There's got to be, I mean, even Borderlands got switched to temporarily switched to a narrative adventure, and that worked really well. There've already been so many good ones that have been done. Let me think here. I know.
No, you're
this
good.
is.
You're good.
I almost want to turn back and look at my.
Cicero,
if you want some time,
Cicero,
I will
do
give
you
you
got
time.
yours?
Yeah, go ahead.
I've got mine.
All right, Cicero, go ahead.
So I am going to turn XCOM: The Enemy Within into a third-person shooter.
Okay, third-person shooter. I like that. I like that. Ryan, getting ideas from your shelf there?
Yeah. Let's do. All right. Let's get crazy and turn. Oh no, I don't know what I want to do.
Let's turn Minecraft into Viva Pinata.
Yeah. Well, that would be good.
Minecraft got the dungeons. That was
That's true. It went well.
That turned it into a nice isometric gameplay game.
All right, how about let's turn Splinter Cell into a tactics game.
Okay. All right. Okay, so Justin, you're up first. You're taking Five Nights at Freddy's and Business Sim.
Yeah.
So I need you to put your rebuttal in your opening argument, not knowing their arguments already. So I'm going to try to have the other two kind of like not really go off your argument as well, just to make it a little bit fair. So Justin, go ahead.
So Five Nights at Freddy's is a very terrifying game for a lot of players, for sure. A lot of people don't play it because it is survival horror and there are jump scares. So we're removing that element. We're making it go back to my childhood and make it almost like a theme hospital or a roller coaster tycoon. So you're taking the security guard element and you're working the entire Five Nights at Freddy's, which is Freddy Fazbear's for fans, pizzeria. And you're running it before these monsters really turned evil. So you're doing Diner Dash like mini games, you're doing security, and the whole time this is happening with your point and click adventure, you're having these animatronics come up and just kind of try to mess up your pizzeria. So they're just messing up orders, they're trying to turn off ovens, they're destroying your progress. They're trying to, and you have to get them away. And it gets progressively worse throughout the nights, just like Five Nights would. And a big element of Theme Hospital and Roller Coaster Tycoon was building your area and making sure it was something that you would like. So making your own Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is something, designing the building and getting what you want where you want it is something that would really help this game. Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, the business sim game. So we've got Ryan over here. You went with... refresh my memory. What the
Splinter Cell is a tactics game.
So you've got Splinter Cell with the tactics game. So we're thinking like old school Metal Gear Solid top down look. sounds great. Bringing back Splinter Cell, I'm down for that. It would work very well. The problem is with Splinter Cell, he is a lone agent. So you would be controlling him most of the time and hardly anyone else, which would make the tactics game kind of fail because you want to work as a team moving across the battlefield. That's what makes tactics games so what. And then Cicero, you had
XCOM.
Now this one is good. I like this idea a lot. This is a contender for me for sure, because moving that camera down instead of that top-down look, that isometric look, moving it down to a third-person action shooter could work very well. I'd like to hear the element of the story that you're going to go with this, because it's a lot about managing different characters in that game. So I'd like to hear where you're going with that. With how are you going to implicate that into the first person or the third person element to make each unit seem unique enough? Because that's going to be a struggle for sure.
All right, Ryan. Splinter Cell Tactics.
All right, so Chaos Theory, easily the best of the Splinter Cell games, had a dedicated co-op campaign where you played as 2 ShadowNet agents. You could absolutely have other agents on your team, in your squad, as it were, with potential hero powers. You wouldn't want Sam necessarily being the only one with like extra cool abilities, but you could, you'd be trying to navigate around. I mean, there's a little bit of Hitman Go involved here, if you guys have ever played Hitman Go. Okay. I mean, that's taking Hitman and turning it into like a board game where you're on a very, very distinct, like only a couple of choices on your path. We're talking about something a little more open here with a Splinter Cell Tactics game, but you'd have action points that you could use on certain gadgets, like your night vision to allow you to see better, your shock rifle, etc., air pulse cannon, all that kind of stuff. So you've got tons of gadgets which would work really well in this form of game. You'd be wanting, if you get seen, you're probably screwed. So you're still working in that element of stealth to the tactics, and to ultimately get to whatever your objective is. And I just think there's, and the pacing, stealth games are already slow paced. So tactics is really just kind of playing into that more, and really leaning into the sort of super spy aspect of, all right, let me think through how I want to solve this, what effectively is a giant puzzle in front of you with these, various enemies on various patterns, their navigation patterns, and getting to the objective of where you want to get to. Now, I realize I may inherently lose this debate because if Splinter Cell were to come back, nobody wants it as a tactics game. They want it as a proper Splinter Cell stealth game, and I'm one of them. But
I'm good with Sam Fisher.
If we are transmogrifying Calvin and Hobbes style, we are transmogrifying games into different genres. I think this could really work.
If it's the stepping stone that gets Sam Fisher back in our lives, I'm down.
Cicero.
You saved the best for last. You saved the winner of this debate for right now. XCOM as a third-person shooter. So as people know, XCOM is a real-time strategy, top-down isometric. We're going to be keeping some elements of that game in our new XCOM third-person shooter. We will have elements of permadeath, and it won't be necessarily permadeath in the same way that we've seen it in XCOM. People will be a little bit more resilient, but they will wind up having injuries, or they can be injured in the same ways that they could be during regular XCOM. The additional thing that we'll be adding is drop in, drop out co-op, right? So you're gonna have 4-member teams right off the bat every time. As you're going through your game, your friends can come in from their games, and they can bring in some of their some of their soldiers that are higher powered, that have ranked up, that have veterans that have gone on missions, and you can gain bonuses from them. They can gain bonuses from you going on their missions with you, or them going on their missions with you. I may have said that twice, but it doesn't matter. It's still awesome. The other thing that's really cool is at the end of those missions that you would see in XCOM is the humans could gain the alien technologies as they're going on, and they can start to apply them to their own weaponry, up to and including psychic, telekinesis and psychokinesis, or whatever they wind up calling it. But those are all things that you can build up to as you're playing through this game. And the great thing is, at a third person, it really starts to play like Gears of War, right? So you've got this really grounded look. You're ducking and dodging undercover. You're climbing up to secondary levels. You're using verticality. You're using all of the elements that you would see in XCOM, Enemy Within, or Enemy Unknown, but you're now doing it at a third person level. So you've got co-op available to you at all times. You've got a lot of the elements from the games that you knew, but now it's even more cool because you've added an action element to it, and you're going to be doing there'll be meters for like guns and how you can get hit or blocking and stuff like that. Like there'll be all these different mini games that you can add to the elements of this game. As for the other games, they're good choices. A tactics Splinter Cell game could be cool. Like that could be a fun game to play on your phone while you're waiting on the train, or you're at the doctor's office or something like that. Yeah, let's have fun with that. And then Justin's game was what was it, Justin?
Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Diner.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the business. That's right. This Business Tycoon, Five Nights at Freddy's. It's 5 days at Freddy's. That's kind of cool. Like that's there's this little underlying thing that that is going to happen. But that's also a game that I would love to buy. On my phone. I paid $2 for that app, but I'm paying $70 for my game. And I'm only paying $5 for their games. They're great games, and they're games nonetheless. But mine is the premium title. I won. Thank you.
Indeed, Cicero, you did win. So we are in a 3-way tie.
Well, hang on. The Bureau, did we all forget that the Bureau XCOM Declassified exists and is basically Cicero's idea and it didn't work?
No, because it was terrible.
I am filing a protest with the league office on this decision because we already made this game and it didn't work.
Twitter handle for Mike is on screen for us. Stay-at-home gamer, go ahead and tweet directly towards that with your negative connotation.
Yeah, the O in home is a 0. Yeah. Anyway, we have a 3-way tie. Listeners, Ryan does have to get going, so we're going to skip the leaderboard today. And we're going to do a blind fight, and it's going to be a quick blind fight. Okay. We do what's called a quick attack, Ryan, where you have 30 seconds for an opening argument, and you have 30 seconds for a rebuttal. We will not be doing a closing argument because Ryan has to get going. Okay. And the reason why we're doing this because we got a 3-way tie, so we got to break it.
Okay.
All right. The question for today, from none other than myself: what Star Trek show would make the best game? What Star Trek show would make the best game? Now, you have 30 seconds on the clock for your opening argument, and you then will get 30 seconds to rebuttal, and then that's our show, ladies and gentlemen. So, Cicero, you will now...
We're just going to end?
Yeah, we're just going to end. No. We'll have Ryan plug something. We're going quick because he does need to head off. So, Cicero, go ahead. You got 30 seconds. Clock starts whenever you start.
What Star Trek show would make the best game?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, the Star Trek show that would make the best game is the best Star Trek show, and that is Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, 24 seconds.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yes, the reason for that is because so you're not out and flying in space and stuff like that. You're you're in a space station where there's lots of political intrigue, so you can have that element of it. There is a war that is going on, so you have the guerrilla elements, so you can have the action elements. There are so many different things that you can involve yourself in.
Nope. All right. Justin, you're next. 30 seconds begins when you start.
As you all know, I love Star Trek, so I'm going to... Deep Space Nine is a great choice. But I think the Mandolorian would do much better. I feel like playing as Mando and having side missions and, you'd be a bounty hunter doing bounties. And the underlying story would be getting Grogu, because obviously that's the storyline. So your main mission would be Grogu. Someone took him and you're traveling towards that and doing these side missions along the way. Lead stars, great graphics, third person, story-driven game.
Time. Ryan, 30. Okay, 30 seconds. What show?
Star Trek.
And it is Star Trek, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it is Star Trek.
Okay, just triple checking, making sure I knew that Justin was just throwing himself off the cliff or in front of the bus for the viewer and listener's benefit. Part of me, clock's starting. Part of me wanted to choose Lower Decks as like a blank canvas where like anything could possibly happen, but I'm gonna go with my heart. Deep Space Nine is a great choice. It's next generation because you have a great crew. You have and you can go to any planet, go to anywhere. You have away missions. It's a narrative adventure. It's an adventure game. It is but in a classic sort of role playing adventure sense. You have great characters, you have diplomacy, you have action down on the planets.
Time. Cicero, 30-second rebuttal. This is your last argument of the night.
This is it.
Yeah,
right. This is it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You've got the Delta Quadrant. You've got the Cardassian War. You've got the Jemadar. So you've got enemies. You've got allies. You've got ships. You've got space combat. You've got ground combat. You've got political intrigue. You got it all. Deep Space Nine, the GOAT, baby. Time.
Okay. I'm going to take away your 11 seconds. Justin.
11 seconds?
Yeah, you had 11 seconds.
I didn't need 11 seconds. What?
Justin, your...
Live long and prosper.
Your Star Trek game Mandalorian. Let's go. Go ahead.
Yeah, of course. So Star Trek is the underlying of this. So the show is actually Picard, and it is all done on the holodeck. But you're playing Mandalorian the entire time. So this is done in the holodeck as Mandalorian, doing the Mandalorian story missions, monster hunting, and trying to save Grogu.
All right. Ryan, you have 30 seconds. Go ahead.
I feel like Justin is actually going to end up winning this. He's gonna pull it out. I think I have a good feeling. But see, the thing about Deep Space Nine is you're not going anywhere. There's nothing. Like, you have to wait for the action to come to you. It's basically like a tower defense game, which isn't the worst thing in the world. But you have the endless limits of space, any planet you can think of in the next generation. Plus, you have this wonderful crew. You have a cool ship. There's just more potential in a next generation game because you are mobile. You can go anywhere and do anything and encounter anyone and anything.
Ooh, right on the dot. Do you have a clock there yourself you were timing?
It's not on, no.
Okay. All right. Hey, Cicero. Well, first of all, Justin, I don't know what you were doing.
Hey, the holodeck, you could do anything.
You're disqualified. Cicero, Ryan got you too much on the staying in one spot type deal. So Ryan,
I said we were going to the Delta Quadrant. We got a wormhole.
Yeah. I'm still going with Ryan. Ryan, you are the winner of Test Your Might this week. Welcome to the show, and thank you for participating. Had some great arguments, and really appreciate you jumping on here.
Thank you.
Ryan, we could follow you at DMC_Ryan on Twitter, right? And
that is correct.
Want to plug anything to our audience quick?
Yeah, I mean, most of you probably know about my IGN stuff. I just want to plug a little personal project that I've been doing for almost 7 years now. If you have an interest in electric cars, specifically Teslas, I've been a car guy my whole life. I just love Tesla. They've been this little startup that has turned miraculously into this real car company, and they're doing amazing stuff, and I love the cars. And I do a podcast about it every week because there's always something interesting to talk about. Believe it or not, I do an easy hour every week on this company. So if you're curious, you have questions, you want to learn more, you just kind of want to check it out, I do a weekly Tesla podcast called Ride the Lightning, the Tesla Unofficial Podcast. I should have called it something simpler, like literally just the Tesla Podcast. That would have been the better way to go in hindsight. But I'm a writer. I got cute with it. But yeah, if you're interested in that at all, you can just Google. If you just Google "Ride the Lightning Tesla Podcast," you'll find it. You got to throw on the Tesla Podcast part because otherwise Metallica owns all that SEO, which was mistake number one. I mean, I am a Metallica fan. That's part of the reason I chose that name. But we can critique the name of it later. If you're interested, go check it out.
Well, I'll put that link down in the show notes as well, so that people can check out that podcast. Really quickly before we go, Ryan, I just want to thank you not only for joining us, but Test Your Might, really in its vein that it is now, would not really exist without you. I did mention that I did a loot box for you guys last year, that I mentioned in there that because you invited Cicero onto Unlocked, I decided to reach out to him to podcast with me. And honestly, the Test Your Might and What the Fun Now, this is yet a small unknowable, you didn't know, but you had a very small and impactful part. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much just for what you did, inviting Black creators on Unlocked and giving a voice to a lot of people to speak about the hobby that we all love. So thank you, Ryan, for all of that.
Well, happy to help just be a tiny part of helping you guys find something you like doing. That's awesome.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Well, listeners, thank you so much for sticking with us. It's been a little longer of an episode, but we had some fun. We had some shenanigans, and Ryan won the debate. So my name is Mike. That is Cicero. That's Justin and Ryan McCaffrey. We will check you guys later. Bye.
I'm protesting.
Hey, I'm just saying.
I'm protesting. You can't protest. Even though I won, I'm still protesting.
I'm just saying you guys said the card was terrible, so if they went in the hollow deck and turned it into Mando, it would be much better.
The card would be a better show if it was the Mandalorian. I mean, you're not wrong about that.
Ryan agrees. And cut.